I feel like I've set up positive patterns or for when I wake up, but they're so it's getting less and less. It's just going to take a matter of creating new patterns.
Yes, it took you a long time to cement in place the negative patterns, even though they will tell you otherwise. They will tell you that one moment. Negative patterns are very tricky and they need to be treated as such, not taken too seriously, but they can tell lots of different stories and make one support them and feel limited. And when creating and changing the place of a negative pattern with a positive one, it doesn't take as long because it is positive and it's towards your alignment, but it will not feel as powerful straight away as the negative one that has stayed in place and lain in the groove, so to speak,
Well,
for a long time.
what would be an example of a positive pattern?
Just as we said that you wake up and you have a series of exercises to partake of, whether you want to do them or not, that bring in a better oxygen flow into your body without the need to judge whether you feel good straight away or not, because that's the negative pattern that will come in and try and trick you. And to move your body gently, nurturing,
I
but
understand.
stretching and moving and doing different shapes than you usually do. So anything that you usually do is part of the reinforcement in the quasi-existence of the negative belief, the negative program.
What kinds of things could I do that are unusual?
Let's think, for instance, have you got up and just stood on one foot and twirled the other foot around?
Okay, I understand. And so I understand that as the second part, but when I'm in the bed and I'm in the dream and I'm in the energy, how do I make myself want to be upright to even get to that stage?
This is the trickery of the negative program pattern.
Right.
It is feeling as if it's all encompassing. But again, the breathing, go into breathing exercises. Not just, oh, I'm going to breathe deeply, because that isn't something very different. But I'm going to do this one and to stick to it. And we had to stick to the negative ones to get them into place. So
Right.
to change them over, in the first instance, we have to stick to doing it so that it sticks in place.
Right. I feel like I did years of saying, why bother get up? What's the point? Why should I get up? And so I'm kind of still have that lingering, even though I feel
Yeah,
different now.
yeah. And then we can take that sentence and we can practice our perspective exercise on it. How can I see that sentence from a different perspective? How can it not feel so heavy?
What sentence? Why bother getting up?
Why bother getting out of bed?
Right. I'm not sure.
So when you see a child and it wakes up, the first thing it wants to do is jump out of bed.
Right.
So you can play around with that sentence and lessen its disabling influence on you by answering in silly ways and not to be so serious.
I feel like there's no reason that I have to get up.
Well, of course you don't have to get up, but what we are doing is breaking, changing a pattern of behavior that is out of alignment, so it doesn't feel good.
It is because I know
And
I could.
you want to get rid of these patterns, you want to change them, but you don't want to do
Right.
the work to change them.
Well, and in the moment, yes, I do want to. And when the moment when I'm laying there going, I really do want, there's this part of me, the conscious part of me wants to get up. And my body's ready to get up. But then there's this other part of me that won't let me get up.
Yes, and that's the part that doesn't want you to change. And that's the trickery of the negative pattern. You have to ignore that.
But why? To feel good?
Why? Because you just said you don't want to feel like that.
Right, so the purpose is to feel good.
The purpose is to recognize that you are out of alignment and know how to put yourself into alignment
Right.
very quickly.
I absolutely.
And these types of practices will encourage that familiarity with being in alignment and not continuously asking yourself, what's the purpose of this? As we discussed, we don't deal with purpose in that sense.
I recognize out of alignment, but I'm not sure how to turn that into alignment, like in an instant, to get up.
Breathing. Doing something completely odd and different than what you would usually do takes the body out of a familiar negative pattern.
So you gave the example of standing on one leg. That is obvious, but my actual routine in the house and my different things, I don't have a lot of variety in what I'm doing.
I think that you can use your imagination to discover variety in a house full of gadgets, beauty, food, bathroom, floor space, stairs. You can get up, you can get out of bed, you can slowly walk upstairs, you can sit on your bum and you can bump down the stairs softly, just like a child would. You don't do that every morning, do you?
No, but I've done a lot of different things, and I probably won't do that because that would hurt and jar my back.
No, we are using it as a weird example of how you can utilize what's in the house and
Right.
do different stuff with it.
I do run up the stairs. I do these different things. It doesn't necessarily change my mental state.
You don't do them enough, Crystal. You make an effort in the first instance and you let the negative pattern come in and question it. So you are feeding it yourself.
Right. So how do we then have the will to want to do that?
The will is already in you. If the will wasn't already in you, feeling how you do would feel good anyway. The will to move back to alignment exists within us. That's why when we're out of alignment, it feels so difficult. I think that the familiarity of the negative feeling holds great attachment for you because you can remain a victim and you know who you are when you are a victim. You know who you are because you're so familiar with that feeling. And we are learning to familiarize you with something different, but you have to keep doing it, whether it feels like it's working or not. So set yourself a list, have it next to the bed, because when one is in this, there is not a space to think outside of the box of negativity. Have the list ready and try a few different options and keep trying them, and don't look for an immediate result.